round 6
of the Nitto Tire United States Touring Car Championship. We are at Sonoma Raceway this weekend. This is a big event. We've been talking about it all year long. We are a support race to the WTCC event that has come to the U.S. for the very first time. It's a big event for us.
Yes, it is. It's a 3-day event. So why don't you tell me the lineup of these crazy things going on?
We've got a lot of crazy things going on. So Friday morning looks like it's going to be a beautiful day, mid-70s. That's what we're hoping for. Fall in wine country. Yeah, hopefully, yeah. No kidding. So fall in wine country here is a beautiful time of the year. Different from all of our other United States Touring Car race weekends is that we've got 2 races this weekend. Usually we're only doing 1, which is why we are round 5 and round 6. So today we're looking at 2 practices. We're looking at a qualifying. This qualifying today is prepping us for our race tomorrow on Saturday.
Okay.
Tomorrow we have 2 sessions. The drivers will go out and we'll have a qualifying tomorrow, which will be for Sunday. Our race in the afternoon, exactly, and then Sunday is our billboard show, and that's going to be our race. So,
the final one.
Our final one. So it's supposed to be a beautiful weekend. We're going to talk to some drivers after qualifying. Ashland's going to walk around the pits and see who else we can talk to.
Yeah.
Some news also. We've got a driver, an international driver's come in. Sean Yu is stepping out of his car today, his car owner, or for this weekend, and he's brought in Rosalind Shen. And she is the rally queen in Taiwan. So she does the Asian Rally Cross. So we're gonna talk to her and see what she thinks about this track, this format of racing. Maybe we can get in and talk to some WTCC drivers.
Would be fun.
I know. So we've got a lot going on, and we're going to get back to you with some of that.
Thanks, Becky and Ashland. Once again, Jeff Lepper and Rick Nanini joining you up here in the booth as we get ready to set the grid for round number 5 of the Nitto Tire United States Touring Car Championship. On the pole, Brandon Kraus in the Ettore Squeegee's Roger Kraus Racing Honda Civic. Right beside him, Robert Thorne in the Auto Parts Warehouse KPAX Racing 3R Volvo C30.
In the second row, we have Andy Chittum in the BTM Neillo Mini Cooper S. Next to him, Dave Brown Carl Chicka team in the Competition Clutch Hawk Works SuperTech Mitsubishi Lancer Rally Art.
On the inside row number 3, Chris Locke in the Roger Kraus Racing Roto Wheels Honda Prelude. Beside him, last round winner Larry Banny in the GoGoGear.com UTI Del City BMW M3.
In the next row, we have Felipe Cabezas, who's the current points leader in the TNI Racing Performance and Frame Tuning Mazda Speed 3. Next to him, Jim Stevens in the Inverter Technology Achilles Motorsports BMW M3.
On the inside row number 5, Ollie Arsham in the GoGoGear.com UTI Del City Hyundai Genesis. Right beside him now is Kurt Simmons and Brad McClure team with the Cornwell Tools Stevens Creek Dodge SRT4.
Next, we have the Tommy Lowe in the Roto Wheels ACT Clutch Acura Integra Type R. Next to him, Percy Howard in the Evil Genius Racing Honda Prelude.
On the inside of row number 8, Fred Watson in the Accutech Racing Honda Del Sol. Robert Kreider stepping in the Performance In-Frame Tuning Mazda MX-6 from AJ Gracie.
Next, we have Tom Milburn in the Speedy Motorsport Acura Integra. Next to him, RJ Reeves and Nicky Tam in the Accutech Racing Acura Integra Type R.
Got a few cars that are still working on their cars as well, trying to make this field. That's one of those Doug Makashima and Ron Valtierra team in the TNI Racing Performance In-Frame Tuning Mazda Speed 3, and John Kluseldorf working on that car in that Grip Racing Lexus IS 300.
Starting in the back, we have Becky Arsham in the number 32 GoGoGear.com UTI Del City Acura Integra Type R. Next to them, we also have Sean Yu, Rosalind Shen, who have car problems. They're trying to sort out their new engine in the Domport Auto Body Honda Civic.
And Tom Lepper in the Chevy Cobalt. Tom Lepper's associate Reliant Oil having transmission problems. Ben Ho and Daryl Chan blew a motor in the B&K Motoring ERZ Performance Honda Civic. And Pete Bovenberg continues to have transmission problems in his MBO Motorsports Honda Civic. All right, and we also have our GT class here once again for the USTCC. Starting on the pole is VJ Mirazon in the Achilles Motorsports Rotera Brakes BMW M3. Right beside him, Henry Schmidt in that beautiful BMW San Francisco M3.
Next in the second row, we have John Handel in the European Motorworks Motul Yokohama BMW M3.
His teammate right next to him, Jeff Sykes, in that European Motorworks BMW M3.
Next, we have Dave Lang in the DW Pumps BMW M3.
Keeping that BMW M3 contingent going, Billy Meyer in the Bavarian Tuning M3.
And then finally, we have Ken Kurtz, who's going to start in the back of the field, probably the quickest car out here in the Yokohama Weld Racing Bear Brakes Pontiac Firebird. He had car problems, but he is going to start today.
And Navid Kahanji showing up in his CS Tuning Apex Raceparts.com BMW M3, getting that field set for GT now. All right, as these drivers come down, we talk about different storylines here, Rick. One of those storylines is this track is a little bit different. This is the first time that they've run the World Touring Car configuration where they come out of here, right here, down the hill, down into the tight chicane in turn number 9.
Yeah, this is quite a unique configuration they're running today here. It's kind of like half of the IndyCar configuration, half of the regular configuration. So it's going to be quite interesting how these drivers cope with this, because most of these drivers have never run this configuration before. And that tight turn 9 is very tight, and you have to brake really hard for that turn, and if you're over aggressive you could easily punch your way out.
Speaking of over aggressive, there's the start, the standing start. Watch Dave Brown in that Mitsubishi Lancer Ralliart, that 4-wheel drive. I always bet on him being in the lead as we go on board with him.
Boy, look at that car just jump from 3rd to 4th place right to the lead easily. It makes this look so easy. And I think everybody else wishes they had 4-wheel drive to launch like that. But
yeah, I got to see what the over-under is on Dave Brown leading in turn number 2. I missed the bet on that one, but here he is.
Yeah, I think Dave really wants every race to be one lap long. That would be perfect for Dave.
Yeah, on board with Chris Locke now. We go back to front-wheel drive car now.
Yeah, now quite opposite. Chris Locke in a much less horsepower car in the Honda Prelude there. Chris has been very consistent all race long, all year long.
Oh, a huge lockup from Larry Banney there.
Looks like Larry Banney in the BMW was going to rear end the Volvo, but he didn't. He locked up. Obviously, that car has no ABS. Here we are on board the Mini Cooper of Andy Chittum, the BTM yellow Mini Cooper S. Andy has had a fantastic weekend. Super fast all weekend long, qualified 3rd, if I'm not mistaken, for this race.
Yeah, not a great start for him, but definitely has to get it done early in this little Mini Cooper. He has made a competition change last year, went to 15-inch tires, and that really helped that car.
And then here is Felipe Cabezas in the TNI Racing Monster Speed 3. He's our points leader, but he's been saddled with a lot of extra rewards weight for his great performance so far, so he hasn't been quite on the podium recently. But that's just how it goes. But he's still keeping it in the top 10, qualified in fact in the 7th position.
And here it is, up at the turn number 2, Dave Brown in the Life's Good Racing Competition Clutch Mitsubishi Lancer Ralliart. As the field starts to get set here, get in line and mind your P's and Q's as we get this lap number 1 underway.
Boy, this is going to be quite a battle here. These guys up front are having a dice, but boy, the mid-pack there, you see a lot of cars. You see Chris Locke trying to go underneath Larry Banney.
Wow, they almost touched there. Talk about gentlemen racers and giving each other just enough space to make that happen.
That was beautiful. That was really very well done driving as they gave each other just enough room, like you say. That was nice. You don't see that very often.
Let's look for Brandon Kraus here to see if he can make a pass for the lead here. He has to get it done early. That lighter weight Honda Civic cannot allow Dave Brown and that more powerful Mitsubishi Lancer Ralliart to pull out into the lead. It's going to take some time to run him down as he goes on the outside of Dave Brown coming down the carousel. Let's see if we can get a shot coming down the straightaway. Come on, cameraman, let's get this done.
Oh boy, there's so many cars that are juking for position, but what's going to happen? Oh, look at that, side by side coming out of the carousel. Looks like an easy drive for the Civic of Brandon Kraus.
Yeah, we did say more powerful Mitsubishi Lancer Ralliart, but boy, did Brandon Kraus get a run coming out of the carousel down that straightaway and powered past Dave Brown.
Well, one thing we should say is in pre-race we were talking to the crew of the Life's Good Racing team, and they have said that their car is down on horsepower, that they've been having some issues with the engine, so that they're not 100%. So.
Yeah, a lot of overheating problems in that car. Chris, their crew chief, was working on that car up in the shop. I went up there to kind of just chat with them, and they had welders out, and they were building boxes for the radiator to get the cooling done on that car, and definitely got to get that car up to full speed.
Yeah, definitely. And we see
look at Fred Watson now and Tommy Lowe side by side to the carousel there. Not sure. Oh, sorry, that was the chicane.
That was chicane.
Not carousel, but boy, some contact there. There is nobody giving each other any room.
Boy, those are two super aggressive guys out there, and there was banging doors there doing the chicane. But that chicane could be dangerous if you're not careful there, so you gotta watch it.
Yeah, you see hitting those curbs, pumping them up on 2 wheels as Brandon Kraus pulled away a little bit of a lead now. As we see if KPAX Racing Robert Thorne, I was just going to say, I saw him go on the inside of Dave Brown in turn 11, and he does it, completes the pass into 2nd place, and that's what he has to do. He has to run down Brandon Kraus while that car is still nice and cool and everything before it gets up to temperature.
Well, it looks like the Volvo has made a pass on for 2nd place, and now the KPAX Volvo of Robert Thorne in 2nd place, and also it looks like, it's my imagination, or it just looks like in the matter of a few turns, the KPAX Volvo has actually made the gap a little bit closer between himself and the overall leading Civic of Brandon Kraus.
Yeah, that's what he has to do. He has to run down Brandon, get around Brandon, make sure that he can pull out a big lead. Obviously, the more powerful Volvo versus the less powerful Honda Civic, a little bit more nimble, probably about 400 to 500 pounds more weight being carried on that Volvo versus the Civic. So we'll have to see how those Nitto NT01 tires handle and who takes care of their tires the best.
Yeah, but in the back behind them, we see a big battle as we see Andy Chittum trying to get around the Mitsubishi there of Dave Brown. Dave Brown seems to be holding back this group a little bit, and looks like he's just playing in defense mode. But in the meantime, it looks like these two top guys, the Civic of Brandon Kraus and the Volvo of Robert Thorne, are starting to pull away from everybody else, building a small gap here as Chittum goes around Larry Banny's BMW. But behind this leading pack, we have a second pack here with 5 cars here, led by Tommy Lowe, and these guys are having a great fight there too, as we see the Daryl Chan car Civic and Ellie Arsham's Hyundai Genesis, the yellow Hyundai Genesis. They're at it, but you don't want to be back there. Trust me, you want to be where this guy is right here in the front, because if you're back there, nothing good comes out of that. Only bad stuff happens if you're back there. Somebody's gonna hit you, or you're gonna make a mistake and go off. You want to be out front where you're got clear sailing and nobody can touch you.
Yeah, well, speaking out front, though, still that battle for third is pretty good with Dave Brown. Right behind him is Andy Chittum. Then you got Larry Banny. Now Chris Locke has got in the mix. So that battle for third is now 4 cars, and it's nobody's game right now. So I don't know. Maybe some bad stuff might happen just even for that final podium position.
That's true, because it looks like the fight for third place here. Any one of these guys has the speed to win it. It's just... I guess a matter of who has the better luck and who has the better position. But here, let's get to the start of the GT race, as we have Jeff Sykes in the replay European Motor Wars BMW M3. Almost had the launch on the V8 of Ken Kurtz there in that Pontiac Firebird.
Yo, we talk about U.S. Touring Car GT class. I want to call it Spec M3 with Ken Kurtz's Firebird thrown in there, because it's a bunch of BMW M3s with Ken Kurtz's Firebird, and Ken Kurtz taking the lead there in this Yokohama TPIS Firebird. Right behind him, though, Jeff Sykes, like you mentioned, in that BMW. What a great launch from him, tucked in right behind that car. And boy, the more nimble BMW, better handling, can really suck up behind him on the corners. But you get down to those straightaways, and that big monster V8, no replacement for displacement, pulls out right ahead of Jeff Sykes.
The other thing, I don't know if you noticed, is Vijay Mirzayan in our pole sitter in the GT went from first to last at the start. He had a horrible start. He says that he was saying earlier that he hasn't practiced standing starts in a long time, and looked like he needs more practice. Because
should have came out to Sears Point, Sonoma Raceway here on a Wednesday night and practice some drag race starts if he needed to. But yeah, twin disc clutch, said he's going to have problems with that, and we'll have to see if that had any long-term effects further on for the race tomorrow.
But look at this, the GT field is already passing up the slower touring cars, and they're working their way through. This is quite a dice here as they pass. Look at that, they got a break right in the middle of the turn because there's all these cars in front of them.
Boy, you got to be careful here as you're trying to get some lap traffic, as the top 4 GT cars are nose to tail. We can see Henry Schmidt right behind Jeff Sykes. You get an outside camera shot here. You will see all 4 of the GT leaders coming through and tiptoeing their way. If you can tiptoe through an 800 horsepower Pontiac Firebird, I don't know how you call that tiptoe, but King Kurtz is definitely making a show of it.
Yeah, you definitely have to be careful, because you have everything to lose and not much to gain by going through these guys. So you have to really be careful out there not to make any mistakes.
Still continuing with our GT battle here. King Kurtz down into turn number 11. Heavy braking on those bare brakes in that Pontiac Firebird as we go back to our touring car battle now. Look at Robert Thorne closing the gap here, Rick, on Brandon Kraus.
This could be a strategy move on Thorne's part, because he might, I think his plan seems to be to just keep the Civic within sight. Don't let him out of your sight, and then make your move later on in the race, and hoping that the Civic, in Brandon Kraus's case, is going to make a mistake, or maybe wear out his tires, or remove his tires, something like that.
Remember, double race weekend as well. There is a race tomorrow, so maybe he's just saving a little bit for tomorrow. Rewards weight is still in play too, so you get the win on here, you're adding 100 pounds.
Right. Well, if they finish the way they do, the Volvo will have to add 75 pounds, and the Civic will have to have 100 pounds. So by tomorrow, the Volvo will have a 25-pound advantage. But I don't think that the drivers at this point are thinking about tomorrow. I think the drivers at this point are thinking, right now, right here, I have to win.
I can tell you exactly that's what they're thinking of. They don't care about tomorrow. I'm out here to do a job, and I'm going to try to get that job done. As the battle for third is still continuing to heat up with Dave Brown and Andy Chittum, trying to see if Andy can get around Dave Brown there, right on the hills.
Boy, look
there.
at that big gap
Chris
between
Locke
the
and
two.
Larry Banny. Yeah, the top 2 is really pulled away.
these guys are, seem to be on another level compared to those other guys now. Look at that. But Dave Brown still in third place, but he looks like now he's holding back these Andy Chittum's Mini Coopers.
Yeah, I tell you what, when Dave Brown gets this car up to full speed, this U.S. touring car field better look out, because there's not a driver out here that's quicker when he has a mediocre car, let alone one that's at 100%.
Yeah, but up front still, Honda Civic of Brandon Kraus and Ettore Squeegee Civic is dialed in. As we go back to our GT battle here, and we see that Vijay Mirzayan's already worked his way to the third or fourth place, looks like. And here's another car. This is Billy Maurer in that green BMW M3 and the Bavarian Tuning M3. This guy has had a lot of time around this track. He really knows his way around here. He's probably been out here for 20 years or so racing out here. These guys are having a great dice, and he's leading. He's followed by, is that the white BMW? That is Dave Lang, I believe, in that number 40 BMW M3. Dave Lang, another guy who regularly runs at this track and knows this track very well.
Got a lot of history with Dave Lang, including owning the car that Brandon Kraus drove to the championship last year that Percy Howard's now driving. So when you talk Dave Lang and U.S. touring car, they do go hand in hand.
That is really true.
Yeah, watching that battle now, Robert Thorne in that KPAX Racing Volvo C30 right behind Brandon Kraus. We don't know how this is going to play out as we see the battle for third now with Dave Brown, Andy Chittum, Larry Banney, and now the GT leader, Ken Kurtz, coming up through the front half of the touring cars. So that's going to be interesting as well how that is going to play out. Got a chance to talk to some of the drivers with Becky and Ashton a little bit earlier. Here's one of those interviews now.
So after qualifying, all that stuff, do you have a strategy for today's race?
Absolutely. We are a little bit on the lightweight. The Nitto tire is going to stay alive a lot longer. So our strategy is to attack the very beginning. Sit back, let the other cars break down, and we're going to come through and win the race.
I really like the sound of that strategy. I think that's a great one. Well, you know what? Thank you for your time, and hope to hear from you later.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, not so good. We just finished an engine swap the last minute on Thursday, and we brought a car here Friday for testing and qualifying. But we finished last year. Finished the Enduro 6 hours with stock, everything stock. But at least for this weekend, we were thinking just for her, so doing something different. So we put a more powerful engine, a 2.0 engine, and tried to swap it in the last minute. But it didn't turn out so good.
But that's okay. Your team is kind of rolling with the flow. You got another car on the way for the race today, and how's that going to work for it?
Oh yeah, first of all, I want to thank Tom Slepper, for he's so generous for us to let us to use his car for her. So that's thanks a lot. But yes, hopefully she can get some driving done today, to show what she got.
Well, we're really looking forward to that. Rosalind's actually does quite a few different things. Rallycross. She's also a host on TV in Taiwan. So I'm going to lose my day job here, and she's going to take over. Couple of questions for you. How long have you been racing?
About 10 years.
About 10 years. So all Rallycross. What type of car do you drive when you're in that series?
Every time different car. Sometimes during HR Rally we drive Jeep. In Taiwan, also Honda. Yes.
So, in Taiwan, she drove this it's like a Taiwan touring champion car. So it's TTTC.
All right. Well, unfortunately the Shan Yu Rosalind Shan team did not make this race, but they got another car. They got themselves a Honda Fit for the race tomorrow. So they'll be in there for tomorrow.
Yeah, way to go for Tom Lepper, of course. Dad, I know he has got race cars spread over this country, able to get him a car. As we see Jeff Sykes here behind Kurt Simmons now, some of the lap traffic trying to get around him. Looks like he's going to be held up a little bit, but Kurt Simmons at SRT4 has some power, and there goes Vijay Mirzan right around him for second.
Oh, this was just a slight tentativeness by Jeff Sykes and loses second place. Boom, just like that.
Yeah, not wanting to cause a scene there with the lap traffic, and that cost him back into third now in that Replay XD BMW M3.
Boy, now let's see what's going to happen but as we go up front, we have still these two guys, Robert Thorne in the Volvo and Brandon Kraus in the Civic, as they're just passing everybody else up. But here's the GT field working up to second place now. So they're up to second place, or third place overall, I should say.
Yeah, it's really going to be a hit and miss here on how the traffic's going to play out with GT now, because the GT leaders are in the touring car leaders. I know that they're battling for the lead. Still a battle for second with VJ and Jeff Sykes up to Felipe Cabezas here. Nobody wants to give any room to anybody because they're all having their own little battles. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, as it looks like Brandon Kraus and Ettore Squeegee's Roger Kraus Racing Honda Civic has really pulled out a lead now, as Ken Kurtz slots in between our leaders in touring car now. Not what Robert Thorne wants to see.
Yeah, I think that the touring car guys just wish that the GT guys would pass them on any straightaway.
Oh, look at that. It's like Andy Chittum's got around Dave Brown.
Oh, there you go. As perhaps a byproduct of all this. Henry Schmidt.
Henry Schmidt spins. He's going to take out Dave Brown. So close there.
Whoa.
Great save from Henry Schmidt and great driving by Dave Brown.
Oh, that was
Talk
so
about
close.
Exciting there. Could have took out our points contender here in the championship lead for touring car. And wow, what a pass that was.
Yes, as I was saying, the GT guys, the touring car guys, really only want to be passed on straightaways. Unfortunately, there's not too many straightaways here. Even the straightaways have a slight kinks to them and can cause issues. So you got to be really
your longest
careful.
straightaway here, and you're only on this for about 2.5 seconds.
Yeah, that's about it. That's all you got. So everything else is curvy and tight. So you got to be careful what you're doing here. But now we have sideways. That BMW of VJ is just perfect. Look at that. What a nice drift he had through there.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what the race would have turned out in GT had VJ got a great start. And he's right on the back bumper now of Ken Kurtz for the lead as we look at our third place now in that BTM Neillo Mini Cooper S of Andy Chittum in third now. So the final podium step goes to Andy Chittum if Dave Brown is still continuing to fall back, still having problems with his Mitsubishi.
Well, let's see what happens up front as we have Ken Kurtz and Vijay Mirzayan. Now, these two guys and Vijay is definitely catching up to Ken Kurtz, so we'll see how it goes. But Jeff Sykes is holding his own in third place. He's not dropping back at all that much.
And Brandon Kraus up into turn number 2. Robert Thorne right behind him. Looks like that car is getting a little bit looser and looser in that KPAX Racing C30. We did say that the rear of that car is a lot heavier. Maybe he's burning those tires down as the battle for the lead in GT now. Here's Ken Kurtz, VJ Marizon, and Ken Kurtz
goes a little
blows the corner there. And VJ gets around
himself
him there.
Easy.
Put the pressure on until he makes a mistake, and Ken Kurtz unfortunately did that, but we'll have to see if that little nimble BMW can pull away from Ken Kurtz now, or is the power going to stay on, and Ken can run back down VJ for the lead overall now in GT.
That was quite a move. I think VJ just put the pressure on, like you say, and Ken Kurtz just outbraked himself and went a little too deep. Fortunately, here's a replay from looking back towards VJ's car. Look at that, just a little wide. Fortunately for Ken, he had plenty of runoff room there. There's all that runoff room's there. Otherwise, if there was a wall or something there, that could have been quite ugly.
Yeah, all that drag strip runoff there as we look up the battle now. Ken Kurtz closed back in on VJ, so the battle for the overall lead now in GT as Jeff Sykes is slotted into third place. Looks like he's kind of relegated there and is going to accept where he wants to be, but Ken Kurtz probably a little upset at himself. I'm sure those bare brakes had nothing to do with that. Great stopping power from them, but VJ Marizon out in the lead now in that Achilles Motorsports BMW M3.
So here they come. As we see, there's something wrong with Percy Howard's car going quite slowly there. I wonder what's going on there. But because Percy was actually doing well. I think he was in the 14th position or so at one point, but now he's dropped back. It looks like he's having some issues. But here's Sykes passing them up.
You got to be careful there coming out of the corner there. You've got the slow car of Percy Howard. You're at full speed. Great heads-up driving from Jeff Sykes there to not get collected by Percy Howard's Honda Prelude.
Yeah, I was just thinking, I hope Percy's looking in his mirrors because he's got some way faster cars coming at him. But looks like everything went well there. And here's Henry Schmidt now is going up. He's in 4th place currently in GT, and he's about ready to pass the Volvo of Robert Thorne. Volvo locks him up a little bit. Goes in the dirt. Looks like he's trying hard.
Yeah, having some major handling problems in that Volvo. Now that car has really, really dropped off. Long race here for today's race as well, so we're really going to have to see how this plays out. This race definitely is not over. As you see Andy Chittum right there, lurking in the winds. He's trying to run down that Volvo, the lighter weight Mini, coming for that Volvo.
Yeah, I think he's actually licking his chops going, boy, I could still do this. There's still plenty of time that I can get this done. But yeah, we'll see. But Dave Brown's actually doing pretty well too. He's holding back Chris Locke and Larry Bandy all race long. But speaking of that, you're side by side as Chris Lock goes underneath Dave Brown, and can he get this done?
Right,
and Larry Banney tries to go in too. Is he gonna do it? No, he's gonna.
Yeah, Dave Brown shuts the door there on Larry Banney. Larry thought he could stick his nose in there and do that, but Dave Brown's car definitely not at full song, but still holding steady in 5th right now with Larry Banney right behind him.
Yeah, not too bad at all for even a top 5 finish for that car is not too bad, especially as far as because these guys are mostly, though they should be, I don't know if they are, but they should be concerned mostly about points for overall championship rather than just one race. But although everybody wants to win the big stage, so drivers are not always the smartest guys. They always think, I got to win this race, but you got to also be thinking championship too.
Just got word down from pit lane as well that the KPAX Racing Volvo of Robert Thorne is having ABS problems. No ABS, and now he's lost power steering in that car. So definitely a battle in that KPAX Racing Volvo. Want to give a huge thanks to Ashland for giving us that report from pit lane.
That power steering is probably why he couldn't make that last chicane, because that second left-hander there is a tight one. And without power steering, that could really make.
I think that car weighs 3,100 pounds, so the heaviest car in the series, and I think he's the smallest kid in the series as well, trying to wheel that car around.
Yeah, definitely. There's actually a few cars that are over 3,000 pounds in the series, and driving with no power steering could be tough. I remember back in the old days when we used to race Civics, it was so easy because you're racing a 2,000-pound car. You didn't even need power steering. You took power steering out because it was just way too much. But in these cars, you have to have power steering.
Yeah, watching Becky Arsham now, I believe, in the GoGear.com. My co-host there, actually getting behind the wheel for the first time this year, so great job for her. She's doing an excellent job as some of the touring car leaders are coming up through the back markers in our touring car field. Well, Andy Chittum and the BTM, Neillo Mini, RM Peterson Construction, Cooper S running down Robert Thorne for 3rd. That battle is going to heat up. I'm not sure if Robert can hold off that Mini. We mentioned before, we got the word from pit lane that Volvo was having some braking problems and power steering issues, so it's not going to happen.
That Mini is looking fast near the end of this race, but we'll see if the Volvo can hold it up. Look at that. The gap is shrinking every lap. Every lap he's taking out about half a second per lap. But there's only about 2 more laps or 1 more lap left, so I don't know if it's going to get it done, but you never know. As we get to the chicane, the Volvo could have a little issue there in the chicane with no power steering.
Well, don't forget, too, if the Mini and the Volvo start battling for the lead, Chris Lock is right there. Only a couple corners left for Brandon Kraus as he comes over the crest of turn number 9 down the hill. The whole year they've got this car ready. They spent well over $10,000, Brandon told me, trying to get this car under development for this race. A lot of testing, a lot of tuning on this car. Spent hours on the dyno at Black Track's performance. Coming down through turn number 10. There it is. Checkered flag for your overall leader, Ken Kurtz, in the TPIS Yokohama Pontiac Firebird. And look at Brandon Kraus coming across the start-finish line to win. Our 5th different winner now in 5 U.S. touring car races. Way to go for his team. And that Ettore, Roger Kraus Racing, Honda Civic SI. Thank you so much to Graham Downey for giving Brandon that car as well. As here comes Brandon now on his victory lap, taking the win.
Boy, that must be so sweet. He's been working on this for so long. He's wanted this so long. I know he was trying to actually land a ride with the World Touring Cars. He couldn't quite get the funding for that, but he got this ride, and well-deserved win for Brandon Kraus, and he shows what he's got. Look at that. He's so excited.
Yeah, exactly. Biggest crowd of the year for him as well. Biggest race of the year for him.